Hi everybody, thank you for joining me in my live video. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry for tuning in. This is um, the the Mission Success Online Book Club, right with your host Robert Hardy. I'm just hosting a book club, but I feel that this is a book club for everybody. Anybody who wants to be a part of it, more than welcome to. Also, if anytime you want to come on and join me on a live, just let me know. And when I come live, I can send you an invitation and you can be part of this live video. And because join me, we can have like a discussion. So anytime you want to come and join me, I'll let you know when I'm coming on live. It's probably going to be different every week. I can't have a set time, like even like tonight, it's later than I'm doing it later than I did it last week, just because of how the day went today. And next week, I don't know how the day's gonna go next week, so I can't give you a specific time when I'll come on and do it. But at least I'll give you notice. It's like I'm gonna be doing it in an hour from now, or half an hour from now, 10 minutes from now, stuff like that. So we can so you- and we can join me with a live and can have a discussion. Also, I was thinking about this. We also, if you want to come on do a live, do some reading, like read a chapter of the book. If you have the book or the copy of the book, and they like to read a chapter of the book instead of me doing it, just let me know. You can come on and you can do it, and I'll let you do it. Do you come on just like I am right now, and you do the reading for that particular chapter if you want to do a chapter. If not for this book, maybe for the next book that we're gonna read. And if you have a book that you recommend that we do on the book club, like the next book that I'm thinking of doing is a book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I'm thinking for that to be our next book to read. And if you have a suggestion of a book, just let me know. Hi, Marilyn. Thanks for joining me. Hi, Paul. Thanks for joining me. Hi, Francine. Thanks for joining me. Thanks, guys, for joining me with the book club. I hope you guys have your copy of your book and you guys are going to follow along as I read. But before we get into, let's discuss last week's questions. If you remember, we had some questions from last week, and let's discuss these questions before we get into chapter two. Last week, from chapter two, we had some questions. Question number one is, why do you want to be rich? Why do you want to be rich? If any of you guys want to leave some comments, then I'll read your comment on in answer to that question. Why do you want to be rich? Everybody wants to be rich, but not a lot of people can define or can narrow it down to the reason why they want to be rich. Not a lot of people, and I think that's a very important question for us to try to answer individually, because we need to know why we need to be rich. Because that's one of the things that may be holding us back from being rich, because we don't know why we want to be rich. Just wanting to be rich is not good enough. We need to know why, and we need to be able to can define that why. Why do you want to be rich? And then maybe once you can define that why you want to be rich, maybe then that will release the riches to come to you. So maybe one of the things that are holding the riches back, holding you back from being rich, is the fact that you are not able, and myself, I'm including myself in the statement too, you're not able to define your why you want to be rich. I want to be rich, not just for my sake. I'll answer that question. And again, I invite those of you who've just joined me, like Marilyn and Francine and Paul. Please leave a comment if you of this question, so I can read it. But but for me personally, one of the reasons why I want to be rich, not only that I want to be rich for my sake, so I can, live the kind of life that I want to live, like be financially free, be financially free and independent, and be time free and independent. What I mean by that, I'll have the money, and the time to do what I want, when I want, how I want. That's why I want to be rich. I don't want to be bogged down by a regular job all the rest of my life. I want to be able to do what I want, when I want, how I want, for as long as I want, because I have the time and the financial freedom to do so, to live the life on my terms. So that's the one reason why I want to be rich. The second reason why I want to be rich is because I want to be able to help others, help other people. I want to be able to give and help other people, help them in terms of teaching and helping them, like the saying goes that you can feed a man for one day by giving him a fish, but you can feed him for life by teaching him how to fish. And so I want to be able to be rich so I can teach others how to be rich, that helping that way. But also, on the flip side of that, I also want to be able to help others by giving money, giving to money to charities, to my church, to family members, to friends, people who need the money. Give to be able to kind of give the money that way. So I want to be able to give in two ways: give in my knowledge, what I know how to get rich, give that knowledge away to people by my teaching and stuff like that, and also give as in financially, give financial giving by or material giving, give bless other people that way. So those are two reasons why I want to be rich. One is that I want to live life on my terms, to be do what I want, when I want, how I want, and for how long I want, because I have the time and financial freedom to do so, to live life on my terms. And also I want to be able to help people. So those are two reasons why I want to be rich. So again, I invite you guys to leave some comment here so I can read a comment, please. So that was the first question. Why do you want to be rich? Second question was, what amount of money do you need to have before you consider yourself to be rich? What amount of money do you need to have before you consider yourself to be rich? Now, again, thinking about that question, a lot of people think that if you have $1 million, you're rich, you're a millionaire now, you're rich. But in today's society, in today's economy, I personally don't think I don't personally wouldn't consider myself to be rich if I had $1 million. Out of this thing that I have a lot of money, but I wouldn't consider myself to be rich if having $1 million. Not in today's economy, not how things are today, how expensive things are. You buy a decent house, you buy a really good nice car, cars, and you travel, do some traveling and stuff like that. That money doesn't last long. $1 million doesn't last long in today's economy. So I wouldn't consider myself rich if I had $1 million. And some people would consider themselves rich if they have $1 million. But to me, the amount of money that I would have in personally, I would say at least somewhere between $5 to $10 million. If I have about $5 to $10 million, that's when I'll start considering myself to be a rich. Because when you have your first million and the second million, your third million, you did all the spending you want, you do all the traveling you want, you buy all the things you want. So by the time you get to the fifth million and the sixth and the seventh million, you already done all the things that you want with the first few $1 million that you get. So by the time you get to the 50, that's when you can settle down and really focus on other people. The first few millions, and you figure you focus more on yourself. But then after the first few millions, you start settle down and you start focusing on other people. Start say, okay, now let me start teaching other people back, both in knowledge and also in material, giving them back. So I would say $5 to $10 million in the round that mark, $5 to $10 million if I would consider myself to be rich. Again, leave some comments here, guys. I'm inviting you guys to leave comments so I can see your comments. Okay, the third question, what would you do with the money? What would you do with the money? And I already said it in the first question. What some of the things that I would do with the money? I'd pay off debts. Get out of debt, buy myself a nice, decent home, buy myself my dream cars, um, travel a lot. Give a lot, give to charity. I'll be one of the biggest giver in my church. you know um give to charity, give to my church and pay my tithe and stuff like that. Give those kind of things. So that's what I would do with the money. And of course live your life on my terms. How I again, you have the time and financial freedom to live life on my term. Do what I want, when I want, how I want, and for however long I want, so long as it's legal, ethical, and and moral. I'm not going to be going out doing all kind of illegal stuff and immoral stuff. They talk about living a decent life within that boundary. uh, so what's question number four? How will the money change your current situation? Your current situation. How will it change your life currently? How would it change your life currently? That's a very good question. I mean, if I had even just $1 million right now, you know, I'll that would totally change my life like a 180 degrees upside down type of thing. To have that kind of money right now, to be able to just pay off bills, able to go to buy my dream car, go to buy a house. My wife and I have been wanting to buy a house, looking into buying a house. Those kind of things. That would drastically change my life if you have that kind of money right now. So yeah, it changed your life. Again, leave some comments, guys. This is a book club. Your comments and opinions are valuable to me. So, for question, do you believe and agree that you have the right to be rich? My big answer to that is yes. That's like a big time yes. I do believe that I have the right to be rich, to be financially rich beyond measure, beyond my wildest dream and imagination. I do believe that I do have the right to be rich. Because I'm a human being, I'm endowed with that right. Because I'm a child of God, I'm endowed with that right. For those two reasons, because I'm a human being, that alone is, we as human beings, we have the right to be rich. We're living in an abundant world, an abundant universe. There's no need for anybody to be living in poverty, living in lack, living in scarcity, living in shortage. There's no need for any of us to live that in that way, in that like kind of lifestyle. We all we all have the right to be rich beyond our wildest dream and imagination. So yes, I do believe that I have the right to be rich, and I am rich. I'm claiming that right now. I'm decided. I've already decided, but I'm deciding again. I am going to be rich, or I am rich. Glory to God. Anyways, question number 6. Do you agree with the way he explained our right to be rich in this chapter? Yes, I agree with what he said. He said a lot of good things in this chapter concerning our right to be rich, and I agree with a lot of stuff that he said. I do agree with a lot of things that he said. Yes, I do. So I wouldn't have decided to read this book if I didn't. So anyways, again, leave the questions, yes, questions, um, guys, concerning this chapter. Hi, Brianna, and hi, Nens. Thanks for joining me. So, okay, so those are the questions that we discussed from last week. So now we're going to get into this week's chapter two for this week. Okay, there is a science of getting rich. There is a science of getting rich, and it is an exact science, like algebra and arithmetic. There is a certain laws, no, there are certain laws which govern the process of acquiring riches. Once these laws are learned and obeyed by any man, he will get rich with mathematical certainty. The ownership of money and property comes as a result of doing things in a certain way. Those who do things in this certain way, whether on purpose or accidental, get rich, while those who do not do things in this certain way, no matter how hard they work or how able they are, remain poor. It is a natural law that likes causes always produces like like effects, and therefore any man or woman who learns to do things in this certain way will infallibly get rich. That the above statement is true is shown by the following facts. Getting rich is not a matter of environment, for if it were, all the people in certain neighborhoods would become wealthy. The people of one city would all get rich, while those of other towns would all be poor, or the inhabitants of one state will roll in wealth, while those of other adjoining state will be in poverty. But everywhere we see rich and poor living side by side in the same environment and often engage in the same vocation. When two men are in the same locality and in the same business, and one gets rich while the other remains poor, it shows that getting rich is not primarily a matter of environment. Some environments may be more favorable than others, but when two men in the same neighborhood and one gets rich while the other fails, it indicates that getting rich is a result of doing things in a certain way. And further, the ability to do things in this certain way is not due solely to the possession of talent, for many people who have great talent remain poor, while others who have very little talent get rich. Studying the people who have gotten rich, we find that they are an average lot in all respect, having no greater talent and ability than other men. It is evident that they do not get rich because they possess talents and ability that other men have not, but because they happen to do things in a certain way. Getting rich is not the result of saving or thrift. Many many very penniless people are poor, while free spenders often get rich. Hope you guys are following along in your book. If you have a copy of your book, we're going through chapter 2 of the science of getting rich. Not not getting rich due to doing no sorry nor is getting rich due to doing things which others fail to do. For two men in the same business often do almost exactly the same things, and one get rich while the other remains poor or become bankrupt. From all these things, we must come to the conclusion that getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way. If getting rich is a result of doing things in a certain way, and if like causes always produces like effects, then any man or woman who can do things in that way can become rich, and the whole matter is brought within the domain of exact science. The question arises here whether this certain way may not be so difficult that only a few may follow it. This cannot be true, as we have seen so far as natural ability is concerned. Talented people get rich, and blockheads get rich. Intellectually brilliant people get rich, and very stupid people get rich. Physically strong people get rich, and weak and sickly people get rich. Some degree of ability to think and understand is, of course, essential, but in so far natural ability is concerned, any man or woman who has sense enough to read and understand these words can certainly get rich. Also, we have seen that it is not a matter of environment. Vocation counts for something. One would not go to the heart of the Sahara and expect to do successful business. Getting rich involves the necessity of dealing with man and of being where there are people to deal with. And if these people are inclined to deal in the way you want to deal, so much the better. But that is about as far as environment goes. If anybody else in your town can get rich, so can you. And if anybody else in your state can get rich, so can you. Again, it is not a matter of choosing some particular business or profession. People get rich in every business and in every profession, while their next door neighbor in the same vocation remain in poverty. It is true that you will do best in a business which you like and which is congenial to you. And if you have certain talents which are well developed, you will do best in a business which calls for the exercise of those talents. Also, you do best in a business which is suited to your locality. An ice cream parlor would do better in a warm climate than in Greenland, and a salmon fishery will succeed better in the Northwest than in Florida, where there are no salmon. But aside from these general limitations, getting rich is not dependent upon your engaging in some particular business, but upon you learning how to do things in a certain way. If you are now in business and anybody else in your locality is getting rich in the same business while you are not getting rich, it is because you are not doing things in the same way that the other person is doing them. No one is prevented from getting rich by lack of capital. True, as you get capital, I'll read that again. True, as you get capital, the increase become more easy and rapid, but one who has capital is already rich and does not need to consider how to become so. No matter how poor you may be, if you begin to do things in a certain way, you will begin to get rich and you will begin to have capital. The getting of capital is a part of the process of getting rich, and it is a part of the result from result which invariable follows the doing of things in a certain way. You may be the poorest man on the continent and be deeply in debt. You may have neither friends, influence, nor resources, but if you begin to do things in this way, you may you must infallibly begin to get rich. For like causes must produce like effects. If you have no capital, you can get capital. If you're in the wrong business, you can get into the right business. If you're in the wrong location, you can go to the right location, and you can do so by beginning in your present business and in your present location to do things in a certain way, which causes success. Hmm. That was the end of the chapter there. Such a so again, if you get the theme of this chapter, the theme of this chapter through this chapter, he keeps repeating himself. Getting rich is getting rich is available to every man and woman if we do things in a certain way. It's available to anybody. Anybody can get rich, no matter who you are, where you are, you know, no matter if again, what I like what he said, Stu, in one time he says, any doesn't matter how smart you are, if you're able to understand these words, then you're able to get rich. So don't matter, don't think you're not smart enough, don't think you're not good looking enough, and don't think you're not in the right location. No, he said it doesn't all those things doesn't matter. If you learn to do things in a certain way, you will inevitably get rich. So throughout this chapter, that's the theme of this chapter. He's saying anybody can get rich, no matter who you are, where you are, what kind of condition you're in. You can get rich by doing things in a certain way. It's I like what he says here too in the first paragraph. He says he will get rich with mathematical mathematically certainty. It's like it comes down to a science. Come down to a science. If you do things in a scientific way, you will inevitably get rich. It's like unavoidable. You just got to do things in a certain way. And as we continue reading this book and as we go into further chapter, he will describe this certain way to us, what this certain way is, and go into more detail of it. But the theme of this book, this chapter, is learn how to do things in a certain way. Rest assured yourself that no matter who you are or where you are, and what kind of condition you may be in, whether it could be in a dire situation, living in the worst of poverty situation, area, povertish area, whatever. No matter what, if you do things in a certain way, you will be rich. You will get rich. But it also comes down to your belief system. That's, remember, the first question is that, do you believe that you have the right to be rich? It comes down to you believing that you have the right to be rich. It comes down to you believing that you have the ability or the capability to be rich, to get rich. I believe that I have the right to be rich. I believe that I have the capability, the ability to get rich. I believe that about myself. I can be rich. I have the right to be rich. I have the ability. I have what it takes. I have the know-how. I'm smart enough to get rich, to be rich. And you have to believe that about yourself too. You gotta believe that you have the right to be rich. You gotta believe that you have the ability, the capability to be rich. You got to believe that you're smart enough to be rich. I like what he says again. I'm repeating this again. I like he said that no matter who you are, if you have the ability to understand these words, if you're smart enough to understand what I'm saying, then you're smart enough to be rich. If you don't understand what I'm saying, because you're so stupid and so far gone mentally that you can't even understand what I'm saying, except for language barrier. Maybe I'm just speaking language and you speak a different language. Maybe that's the only thing, that the language barrier. But if you speak English, but yet too you're not bright enough to understand what I'm trying to say, then maybe you don't have the ability to get rich. But if you're smart enough to understand the words that I'm saying, or the words that I just read out of this book, this chapter, then you're smart enough to get rich. You're smart enough to get rich. But you gotta do things in a certain way. You gotta do things in a certain way, and that's the theme of this book here. This chapter here is learning to do things in a certain way. Is not a matter of environment. It's not a matter of talent. It's not a matter of location. It's not a matter of what type of business you're in. None of those things matter. As he said in this thing, people get rich, in all sorts of different environment. They get rich in all sorts of different location. They get rich in all sorts of different business. People get rich in all sorts of different type of talent and abilities. So all of those things don't matter. You can't use any of those things as an excuse. Oh, I can't get rich because I live, look where I live. I live in a poverty province or city or town or neighborhood, and there's poverty all around me. Or look at my family. Nobody in my family is rich or successful. Look, I never finished school. I didn't go to school. I didn't graduate from school. I never went to college or university. Oh, I don't have any talent. I can't do anything. I can't have no ability to do anything. You can't use any of those things as an excuse or something to hold you back, because they don't hold water. They don't hold water. You just can't use any of those things. That's what he's trying to say in this chapter. You can't use any of those things as an excuse of why you're not rich. All you have to do is learn to do things in a certain way, and no matter who you are, where you are, the situation you're in, you can be rich. You have the right to be rich. You have the ability to get rich. You have the smart and the know-how to get rich. You got to believe that. You got to believe that. It comes down to your belief system. Do you believe that about yourself and for yourself? Do you believe that you have the right to be rich? Do you believe that you have the capability, the ability to be rich? And do you think that you're smart enough? Do you believe that you're smart enough? No matter even if you never went to school, never went to college or university, none of those things matter. No matter if you never graduated from high school, do you believe that you're smart enough to get rich? And what he's saying here, none of those things matter. If you're smart enough to understand these words, then you're smart enough to be rich. And it doesn't matter about your environment. It doesn't matter about your ability. It doesn't matter the business that you're in, because everybody get rich in all sorts of business, in all sorts of environment, with all sorts of talent, with all sorts of educational levels and backgrounds, in all sorts of different situations. People get rich. I heard it says, during the Great Depression, way back in the 1930s, during the Great Depression, you know, many people became rich during that time. A lot of people were losing their jobs, going, experience poverty and stuff like that. But a lot of people also experienced riches. A lot of people became millionaire during that time also. So on one hand, there's a lot of people losing their jobs, losing their homes, losing their possessions, going bankrupt and stuff like that. But on the other hand, there was lots of people getting rich, becoming millionaire during that same time, the same time period, the same environment, the same situation. Plus, some people going poor, and on the other hand, some people getting richer, getting richer. That just show you it doesn't matter the environment. Some people in the same environment, the same location, the same business, the same abilities, some people will get rich and some people will get poor. It's just a matter of learning to do things in a certain way and doing it. It's with scientific and mathematical certainty that it will happen for you. So, as we go on through this book, he will describe what this certain way is. And as we do things in this certain way, then we will inevitably get rich, according to this chapter, according to this book. So, anyways, so I'm not. Last week I kind of went over this book here and kind of repeat some of the things they said. I read over some of the things, but I think that I kind of did that, in our overall things, that just focusing on the theme of this chapter. The theme of this chapter is learning to do things in a certain way, and don't let anything else hinder you or stop you, or make you think that you're not able or qualified to get rich, because none of the excuse that you'll come up with oh, I live in a poor, poor province in Timbuktu. Nobody knows who I am, and no, you can't use the kind of environment. You can't use those kind of excuses. No matter no matter where you are, your location, no matter your talent, your ability, your educational level, your environment, none of those kind of things matter. It matters that you learn to do things in a certain way, and with mathematical certainty and with scientific certainty, you will get rich. You will become rich with certainty. Okay, so I'm gonna post some more question for this from this chapter. Um, I kind of went over them again. So the question for this week we're gonna discuss it. Do you believe that you have the ability to get rich? Do you believe that you have the capability to be rich? And do you believe that you have the smart and the know-how to be rich? I'm going to type them out again like I did last week in the video for us to discuss next week. I'll type out those questions. But so I hope you guys get something out of it. I'm gonna shut it off here for now. But again, then please leave comments. I want to see some comments. I'm glad you guys are tuning in and watching the video, watching me live. This is the online book club, the Mission Success Online Book Club, and I want to get your feedback even as I'm reading. You can also um, let me know what your thoughts about what I'm reading, or even after I finish reading, after I'm reading the comments. Let me know, or jot down your thoughts and your ideas of what I'm saying, if you agree or disagree, what you got out of the chapter as I was reading it. You listen. If you have the book and you're following along, in the book, and you jot down your thoughts and feelings about what you're reading. If you have your own copy of the book too, and you can read ahead. Next week we're going to read chapter 3, and if you want to read chapter 3 ahead of time, and jot down your thoughts and feeling that way, please do. So I don't want to feel like I'm here by myself. Although I know you guys are watching, I don't want to feel like I'm by myself doing this. And the way you can help me not feel that I'm by myself is by jotting down your comments, leaving some of your comments. Let me know what you're thinking, what if you agree, disagree, and let me know what your thoughts and feelings are as I'm going through the different chapters. So again, we just want to emphasize that. Please do that. And next week we'll go on to chapter 3, and we also discuss the questions from this week before we do so. So again, thank you everybody for joining me. Thank you. And I hope you guys to see you guys next week. And please like these videos. Please share these videos. Please invite other people to be part of this book club. And again, if you want to join me in live, just let me know and I'll send you an invitation. You can actually join me live. We can discuss it live. You can be part of, we can share it. You can be live with me. If you want to do that, let me know for next week or for any future weeks coming up. So I'm excited about this book club, and I hope it become very, very successful. But one of the ways it become successful is people engaging, the amount of engagement that I get. So that's how it will determine how successful this book club becomes, as it becomes more and more engaging. People discussing what is read and discuss. Okay, so that's the reason why I have those questions too, is to encourage engagement from the viewers. Encourage you guys engaging and by answering those questions. Okay, so let's do that. Let's get some discussion going on in this club, in this group. I started a group too called on the Mission Success Online Book Club. So if you want to be part of the group, let me know, and I'll add you to the group. Anyways, until next week, you guys take care of yourself, and believe that you do have the right and the ability and the know-how, the smarts to get rich. God bless you. I love you. Peace.